Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is a piece of wood. What we're using here is 1/2 inch plywood that's 2 feet wide by 4 feet long. So I'll get two shields out of this. When I measured the actual width, it was a 23 and 7/8. So I measured from the edge over 23 7/8. So when I cut it, it'll be round. Get the max from tip to tip, tip to tip. Then after I did that, I went from corner to corner. That gave me my center point on this half. I drove in a finishing nail where the lines intersected. And then what I did, I knew that from here to the center was 23 7/8. I got me a string, I tied a loop on one end and a slip knot here so I can adjust it. And I put my tip here, I adjusted, and then I did it in ink so you can see, and it makes it easier to see the line than a pencil when you're cutting. I now have where I put here, and I went around like this, made my circle. That little nail's not going to hurt anything. Then we'll take the jigsaw and we'll cut just outside that line. We've got about a 1/4 inch gap from one piece to the other. So we can go over just a little bit so that when we sand it down, we'll come to that line exactly. So that'll be our next step. And then as we look with my arm folded and you hold it, we've got 3-4 inches on either end once you put a handle and an arm strap here and center it up on the middle of my forearm. That'll be very nice. I was going to get 2 sheets of 1/4 inch and glue them together, but there was no point in doing that. The only reason we would need to do that is if we were going to make a curved shield. We'll have to do that project later. But just for a shield like this, 1/2 inch is going to work out just fine. It won't be too heavy and it'll be strong. Alright, I got it sanded down to a 80 grit. I don't really have a need to go any smoother than that because we're going to cover this edge anyway. You can do it in leather if you have metal. What I'm going to use is some rubberized material, old conveyor belt. It's cut into strips, and with just by eye I folded it over, made a mark on each side to get an idea how far up I needed to go. To make drill holes, what I'm going to do is I've gone around the edge. I made a mark with my ruler. Then I just put the width of the ruler, which is about 1 inch, put a mark, put a mark, put a mark, inch apart all the way around. I'll drill a hole slightly larger than the cord that I'm going to use so that it can fit through. And then what we'll be doing is wrapping this around, then lashing this all the way around. So one, to protect the wood from splitting and splintering, and keep your shield intact so it doesn't fall apart. And if you're using these just for combat between you and your friends, you know, wooden swords or padded swords, whatever, that way you're not ripping apart their weapon. You can take a water hose, cut down one side, set it in there, do the exact same thing with the holes, lash it on. I have another shield that's made like that. You can take leather strips. If you do metal and fold it, you're gonna have to do some cuts. I'm just gonna use this because I have a good amount of it. Okay, I've got all the holes drilled around so that we can put our padding of whatever type we want. Simplest handle I can come up with. Trying no welding here so anybody can do this. All thread. Then either a wooden handle, a dowel, or this is conduit. It's hollow. It is not solid. Drilled holes in this. 3/8 all thread is what I have. Then I put this bar down. I made a mark where my elbow to my fist tip, it was like 14 and a half. the board was 24, so I just took 5 inches off each side and drilled 3/8 holes here. Put the all thread. I'm going to have to put a bolt on the other end. I'm just trying to get an idea of how tall I'm going to make these. I'll go here plus give myself maybe an inch so that I can put the nut. I'm going to have a nut here, and then a nut on the bottom side with a washer to disperse that pressure, not pull through. And then what this will allow me is to adjust the height of this as I use it. If I don't like it, I say, that's a little bit low. Let me go a little higher, a little lower, and that'll give me a little bit of adjustment. So I like that. And then I'll cut off here with the angle grinder.